All right, let's dive right into this explainer. We're going to uncover the psychology, the neuroscience, and those real, everyday human behaviors that quietly command respect. And the best part? You don't have to raise your voice once. Have you ever noticed how some people can just walk into a room and instantly, almost effortlessly hold everyone's attention? It's like a superpower. But here's the secret. It is definitely not magic. It's not because they're the wealthiest, and it's certainly not because they're trying to force anyone to like them. It actually all comes down to tiny, subconscious habits. So today, we're breaking down exactly what those small behaviors are and how our brains are wired to notice them automatically.
So think about this. Who is the most respected person in the room? It's a question that really challenges our basic built-in instinct that respect has to be aggressively demanded. When we think of respect, pop culture usually gives us this image of someone, banging their fist on a boardroom table, demanding compliance, or just totally dominating a conversation. We are completely conditioned to look for the most commanding physical presence. But behavioral science, it tells an entirely different story.
We naturally assume the loudest, or hey, maybe the richest person wins the respect game. But science actually shows that our brains automatically associate authority with the exact opposite. It's the calmest person, the one who demonstrates real emotional control. I mean, think about it. Fast, loud reactions usually look highly emotional and frankly out of control. Calmness, on the other hand, that looks powerful. It sends a deep evolutionary signal of safety and competence to everyone around you.
So, let's explore how to actually do this in our first section, mastering the art of silence, and specifically, the power of the pause.
Okay, there is this incredibly fascinating bit of neuroscience behind this, and it's called response inhibition. It's deeply linked to your prefrontal cortex, which is the exact part of your brain responsible for self-control and high-level decision-making. When you pause for just one single second before speaking, you are actively engaging this brain region. You are literally proving to others on a completely subconscious level that you do not need instant validation, and you aren't just reacting purely on emotion. People's brains automatically register, wow, okay, this person is thinking carefully. This person is confident.
So how do we actually apply this in our daily lives? Well, it's so simple, it's almost crazy. Next time someone throws a challenging question your way, do not rush. Just pause, take a breath, and speak slowly. It sounds basic, right? But implementing that one single second of delay completely flips the power dynamic of a conversation. It projects instant, undeniable confidence. You see, anxious, nervous people absolutely fear silence. It feels super uncomfortable, so they constantly fill conversations with random, unnecessary words just to bridge the gap. High-status individuals, however, they use comfortable silence to signal that their brain isn't panicking in a social setting. They speak less, but with way more intention. And this instantly increases their perceived intelligence, because our brains naturally assume that thoughtful people take time before they respond.
Moving right along to Section 2, the science of calm communication, where less is definitely more.
Now this brings us to social threat circuits, and wow, this explains so much about our daily interactions. When you add unnecessary words, like saying, oh, I'm so sorry I was late, traffic was a nightmare, and then my phone died, and I know this sounds weird. Actually, we've all done it, right? But that is over-explaining. And when you over-explain your decisions, your brain's social threat circuits are literally screaming for approval. You're talking defensively because of a deep fear of rejection, and that immediately signals insecurity to literally everyone listening.
When anxiety hits, your sympathetic nervous system just hijacks the wheel. It prepares your body for danger, and as a result, your voice speeds up, it gets higher, and it sounds, well, a bit chaotic. But simply slowing down your breathing naturally lowers your vocal pitch, and lower, slower voices subconsciously signal safety, competence, and immense strength. The most respected person in the room often diffuses social tension simply by bringing their vocal pitch down a notch. You will not catch a truly confident person saying things like, I'm sorry if this sounds stupid, or I might be totally wrong, but no way. They communicate clearly, they trust their own decisions even when others disagree, and they deliver a simple, direct statement. Here's what I think. And then they just stop talking. The more unnecessary fluff you cut out, the more your authority absolutely skyrockets.
Okay, on to our third area, presence and authentic actions. This is all about getting your actions and words to actually line up.
The key concept here is self-integrity. This is what happens when your actions repeatedly match your words. Every single time you break a small promise to yourself, your brain takes notes, and your internal confidence quietly starts to collapse. But when your actions match your words, your brain builds hard evidence that you follow through. You start trusting yourself more, and miraculously, other people instantly feel that grounded, disciplined energy radiating off of you.
And look, this is where the rubber really meets the road. Respect isn't built from delivering some huge cinematic movie speech. It's built from consistently delivering on tiny, mundane promises. Things like, I'll send it tonight, I'll wake up early tomorrow, or I'll call you later. Following through on these, even the ones nobody else sees, proves your discipline. If you say you're going to do it, do it. That consistency is exactly what makes you look naturally respected.
Now, let's shift gears and talk about eye contact for a second. People often break eye contact quickly, maybe every 2 seconds, because their brain interprets it as intense social pressure. Fake confidence tries to overcompensate for this with aggressive, intimidating staring. But real confidence, it's relaxed, it's present. If you can hold someone's gaze for just 1 extra second while fully listening to them, you are signaling incredibly deep emotional stability. True presence is super rare nowadays, and rare things absolutely command respect.
We really need to stop performing for approval. Ironically, the more desperately you crave validation from others, whether that's laughing way too hard at a bad joke, agreeing too quickly, acting like a totally different person around different friend groups, or hiding your real opinions, the less respected you become. Why? Because human brains are highly tuned, highly evolved machines built to detect and distrust forced behavior. Authenticity is what actually creates deep, lasting trust.
Which brings us to our fourth and final section, the ultimate respect shift, emotional control.
So, here's your blueprint. A calm pause, a kept promise, a steady voice, relaxed eye contact, comfortable silence. These might seem like tiny drops in the bucket, but repeated daily, they are the absolute core of emotional control. They're small things, yes, but over time, they completely change how people perceive you out in the world. And honestly, much more importantly, they completely change how you perceive yourself.
It all boils down to this fantastic insight. The strongest people are usually the calmest people in the room. True respect is never, ever built through intimidation, loud noises, trying to look superior, or faking your confidence. It is fundamentally built through unshakable calmness. It's that quiet strength that proves without a doubt you are in control of your own mind and your own reactions.
To wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a provocative question to chew on. Are you chasing validation, or are you commanding presence? Because the exact moment you decide to stop performing for approval, stop over-explaining, and stop rushing to fill the silence, is the exact moment the room will start respecting your presence naturally. Start practicing these tiny habits today and just watch how the world reacts to you.